Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Kingdom Women Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the power of a helpmate. I don't think as women we understand how powerful we are. We're powerful.
Yes, we are.
We influence.
Mm-hmm.
We make it happen.
We do.
We change the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
We make him stand at attention.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much power. I think we underestimate that sometimes because we hear oftentimes that the husband is the head of the household.
Right.
So I think that automatically makes us feel like second fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
When I think that's a man, a world, I would say a man thing or a worldly thing, because that was never God's intent for us to shrink back. He
No, it
don't want
wasn't.
us to shrink back, and I think sometimes we think that we have to play second, but we're going to talk about there's power in a helpmate, because God said he did not want man to be alone.
Mm-mm.
So what did he create? A helpmate.
Yes,
Well, first
he
of all,
did.
can we talk about the fact that God didn't want him to be alone? He knew he was going to be up to some shenanigans. He knew he could not make no right decisions without us.
Yeah,
He knew.
he knew.
He said, you
Correct.
can't be alone.
Yeah, I got to send you some help.
Let me send you something, somebody that's going to level you out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That part trips me out all the time. Like he said, man, it's not good for man to be alone.
No.
Why, God? He see what we see.
Mhm.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it leaves you scratching your head.
You
Like,
got that right.
what?
God knows best, and we believe him.
Yes.
So let's talk about power of a helpmate. What makes us so powerful as a helpmate? Oh, first of all, what is a helpmate?
A helpmate is someone that God created to do just that. Help him.
To help.
Help him.
Yes.
Helpmate.
Yes.
I mean, it's a mate that is of help to
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
And it's somebody that's going to come alongside, right?
Yeah.
Not walk behind, not walk in front, but come alongside that we can make this happen. What are you thinking? Anything different?
Nothing different. I would just add that we have to be careful in our power, like not take advantage
Ooh, that's really good.
because when I say we, I mean generally women as a whole. I'm not, putting anyone out, but sometimes we can take that as that we're supposed to be the boss, or we're supposed to demand, but that's not what the word says.
Yeah.
Right.
The word says we are to submit unto our spouse. Like, we may not like what our spouse has said, but there's no disclaimer in the word that just because you don't like what he said, but when you're walking in your God-gifted power as his helpmate, you understand the word submit. You understand what your power per se is, that when he's down, I'm there to lift him up.
Right.
When he's got something heavy on his heart, I can tell, and I know how to operate in that. Sometimes our men don't know what to do, when to do, how to do.
Right.
And God has positioned us that we can say, well, maybe you can do this, or this.
Yeah.
And the man doesn't take it as we're trying to be controlling.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, that's true, Sheila. Delivery does have a lot to do with it, the way that you deliver the message.
And we're built different from men. They have a certain quality and characteristic that God has given them, and we have a certain quality and characteristic that God has given us. That's why the two mesh together so well. God knew what he was doing when he said, I don't want man to be alone.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a helpmate, because that way two is better than one.
Most
It
definitely.
All day
really
long.
is. It is. Two is better than one. You can cover more ground. You can work together
Yeah.
to get things done. You can come together, as you were talking about, when it comes to decisions, because one person can't think of it all. But two people, you can think about what should happen, what not's going to happen, what the fallout can be. Like, you can think about it from a 360 view. So there's a lot that, as a helpmate, we bring to the table.
Yeah.
Now, I think sometimes men like the helpmate, but sometimes they don't respect the helpmate. Right? They don't respect the decisions. They don't respect the input. They don't expect the value that a helpmate brings to the table. Right? And that can be frustrating sometimes when you don't feel as though you're seen for who God called you to be in that position, in that role. It's a delicate role to play, because as the helpmate, we also bear the brunt of a lot of things.
Yeah.
We do. We bear the brunt of a lot of things, and a lot of times we operate behind the scenes with no credit and no extra pay.
Or no pay at all.
Correct. No pay at all. But that's who God, he shaped us to be, all of those things. I think the problem becomes sometimes is that we are a helpmate to those who are not our husbands. I had a conversation with a young lady, and
That's good.
I was sharing with her, and she was like, I don't know where I went wrong. We was together 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't know kind of where things went left. It was good in the beginning, and then it just kind of fell off. Right. And I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was, folding his clothes and washing his clothes or whatever. And then
You
after she
was
finished,
being a wife before you was
and
the wife.
that's what I said. I said, why did he need to have a wife when you were a wife? And she was like, but isn't that what I'm supposed to do? And
Not
I
as a girlfriend.
I said, girlfriend qualities is different than wife qualities. And somewhere we got that screwed up. Because everybody that we date, we want to be a helpmate to. And that's not what God has called us to be. That's not. He said that man should not live alone. He ain't talking about any man. He's just talking about one specific one, your husband. Because the scripture dates back to Adam and Eve.
Correct.
They were a union. They were in covenant. So then and I think that's the piece that we see today that's missing, is that we want to be a helpmate to everyone we meet, not just our spouses.
And that seems to be so hard for us as women, especially when we're needy. We're looking for love, whatever it is, the void is, and we meet someone and we pour out all this love and affection on that person, and it is wifely duties we take on.
Yeah.
We start having children with them. We buy houses with them.
Yeah.
We put our names on things with them.
Right.
And we're not their wife.
Right.
And then when he decides to leave, there we are with kids, or out on our behinds because the house is his, or whatever. It's like that old saying, it's still true today. Why buy the milk when the cow is free? Or why either
buy
or,
the cow when the milk is free?
why buy the cow when the milk is free? Or why should he marry you? You've given him 15 years of wifely duties.
So do you think that we understand what it means to be a helpmate? Like, that's not something that's taught. That's not something you
No,
get.
it's not. I think sometimes we cross the line too. I've been guilty of it. And when I say that, in and of not being the helpmate, but being in his place.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
because we can. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because we can handle it, we can take it on, and we can do it.
Yes.
And it will get to a point where he will let you.
Because you know what, you're right, Angie. Because we can, because we're built strong, right? We're built to stand tall. We're built to make it happen for yourself. Don't do it for yourself. You need to have your own. Those are things that we were brought up learning, seeing, and then mimicking. But then when it comes to a relationship, it's hard to scale it back. Because for us, we think that, oh, you don't want me to be me. Or you intimidated by a strong woman. When it's none of those things, as you mature and you grow, you understand. Everybody got a part to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're wondering why we're tired because we're playing two
Right.
parts. You want to play the man and the woman.
That's right.
Instead of, understanding what does God intend for me to do in my role as the wife, the helpmate. Like, what does that look like? And perfect that. But instead, we want to be the man on Tuesday, making all the decisions, doing this and so forth. And then on Wednesday, we want to be the woman. But then on Thursday, we mad because we're tired and had to do what we think was the man's job on Wednesday and our job on Thursday, right? Now we mad, but it wasn't required of us. And then
Correct.
we come up with somebody had to do it because it wasn't going to get done.
Right.
That's just some fake justification.
And if that is the realization, you're going to have to be okay with letting it fall.
If it don't get done, it don't get done.
Yeah. Because sometimes you got to let it fall in order to show that, hey, you were supposed to take care of that, and it didn't happen.
Right.
And I think that's the piece. We're not okay with letting it fall in any area.
Correct.
Wow. I think it's something you learn out of being tried and true, but there's no
Yeah.
conversation. I think it could have saved a lot of heartache, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger if this is something that would have been said in the 20s, when you was in your 20s. And, when you first start
Correct.
getting into relationships and things. It's like somebody needed to say it then.
But it's like anymore I see the generations or of parents or whoever are allowing children to date earlier. Oh, that's her boyfriend or that's his girlfriend, and they're dating. Well, do they have a true understanding what dating really is and what that calls for? And then as they grow older, they get with somebody, and because we become comfortable with people, their ways and different things. I mean, I be transparent. I stayed in a relationship in a young age because I knew who this person was, good, bad, and all the ugly. But it was easier, for lack of a better way to explain it, to stay in that relationship than it was to cut it loose. One, I didn't want to be alone. Two, I felt like this person cared about me, again, looking for love in all the wrong places. So I was given that wifely or that mate power away early on because no one sat and said, look, you're not dating at this age. Y'all
Right.
might be getting to know each other and friends, but no, not dating. Right. And if you're dating, these are, this is how we date. This is what we do. Then as you get older, but we don't have women my age or even you ladies' ages telling our younger generation, no, ma'am, you don't give that kind of power away.
It's interesting that you said we give the power away. And you're right. We do give the power away. Because first of all, we don't think we have no power. Right?
Right.
We don't think that we have. So let's kind of talk about that. Like, we don't think that we have any power. We, as you stated, we think we're in a relationship, but we really don't think we have any power. We don't believe that we have the power to influence. Right? Yeah. I can say something today and just drop it right there and leave it and walk away. 3 days later, 4 days later, a week later, they may come back and say, you know what I was thinking? That's influence. Right? You can make a suggestion. They may not own it. Sometimes we get in the way of God because we make a suggestion and we expect for it to happen right then and there. Just because we make it on a Thursday and they don't receive it by Thursday or Friday, then we walk away mad. That's why I don't tell them nothing. That's why I don't suggest nothing, because he gonna do it his way anyway.
Right.
We don't even give time for God to let
Yeah.
it marinate and work it through, right? Because then a week later, sometimes they're processors. Oftentimes they are processors, and they are slow to move. But then a week or two later, they'll come back and it's their idea.
Right.
You just influence that.
The seed doesn't grow overnight when you put it in the ground.
Nope.
Very true.
That part. That part.
So whatever seed the Lord is allowing us to plant, they got to be nurtured. They got to be watered. He's not saying ram it over their head. What's the scripture? A man would rather live on the roof than with a nagging
With the nagging
helpmate. So you plant the seed, you nurture it, and leave the rest up to God.
Yeah. So what other power have you learned that you have as a helpmate?
I think as a helpmate, the other power that you have is the power to even allow the person that you're the helpmate to see their potential, to see where they're headed,
Oh,
and
that's good.
influence them to go
Yes.
in that direction, by way of support, by
Yes.
way of nurturing that gift
Yes.
that they have that you
Ooh,
see,
yes.
and praying for them in
Yes.
those areas.
Yes. If you're not your boo, your husband, your baby, whoever, whatever nickname you got, if you're not his biggest cheerleader, it's a problem. It's a problem. I don't care how crazy it is. I don't care what it looked like. We have to be their biggest cheerleader. We have to be the one that's screaming the loudest, cheering the loudest, pushing them the furthest. That's part of our duty as a helpmate. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. I think also we have the power to influence behavior.
Yeah.
Sometimes the
Yeah.
helpmate is the only one that can look them square in the eye and be like, not today.
Correct. And go right on into a worship right after that.
I mean, it's a certain look we can give. Like, we doing that right now. And your mouth may not say a word, but your eyes will look right into their soul and be like, this ain't what you want today. And they would be like, oh, you play too much, but they going on about their business, right? I think we underestimate that. And that's a big deal because don't nobody have that. In some instances, even their own mother don't have that over them. But we can give a look, like,
Yeah.
and it just shifts their whole behavior. They will stop doing what they're doing, or they may do something they were supposed to be doing. Because you can walk in there and be like, did you do so-and-so, so-and-so? Oh, no, I was going to get to it. And you can just look a certain kind of way, and they'll be like, I'm going to call you right back. And get up and get to doing.
Yeah, just say that.
So I think we underestimate that. And also, the other thing is God has given us the innate ability to look at assess a situation quickly and be able to go into action, right?
Yeah.
And I think that makes us unique as a helpmate as well, because sometimes they bringing up the rear,
Yeah.
right? They'll get there, but we already then assess the situation, and that allows us to be able to tell them about certain relationships or certain decisions, and we can say, you know what, it sounds like a good idea, but think about this, and this, like, because we're already forward thinking.
Yeah. True.
And so I think there's a lot of value. And when we talk about power, we're talking about value,
Yeah.
right? The value that you bring to the table. There's a lot of value that we bring to the table. And there's a lot that we give away.
And I think we also have power in when we know our spouse has flaws and we give them permission to have those flaws because, like you said earlier, because we're pushing them, not pushing as in we're making them, but we're helping them grow in the fact that you can be who you are around me. You sensitive, I love that about you. You know, whereas around others, they might have this to be
they're
this
not as
strongly
vulnerable.
man and not be vulnerable, but it's okay around me, you know, because you said it, I'm going to support you.
Yes.
I'm going to, this is for you. You know, this is for you. This is for you, you know. So I think it's at times the power that we have to allow our spouses that time sometime to be vulnerable, to show weakness, you know, to not always be the strong one, because again, the Lord did create us to be a little stronger. You know, what they say, iron bends, but it doesn't break. You know, we bend, we don't break.
And it's okay to carry the weight in those instances.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of being a helpmate. It's okay to carry the weight because sometimes they may have an off day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why it's dual responsibility, but you got to figure out what that looks like, you know, in the union. Because oftentimes these things that we're talking about, the value that we bring to the table, it can also, if not used under the instructions of the Lord, it can break the relationship.
Yes.
Right? Because it can come across as being arrogant, a know-it-all, you know, you trying to, you know, you just want to everything to be
Control.
your way, you control it. It can
Yeah.
come across that way. So you have to be prayerful about the delivery of it. And even when it comes to saving the household, right? There's influence in that. What does scripture say? A sanctified wife will sanctify her husband. That lets you know the power that you have. Right? It's not about nagging. It's about just showing up and being who God called you to be. And watch how that shifts the household, how that shifts the conversation, how that shifts everything. Because whether they want to admit it or not, they really do feed off of us.
And it's
They
because if you think about it, how many times have we heard or even know when the matriarch of the family passes, we don't do this no more, we don't do that no more, we used to have Thanksgiving here, or, we, you know, Mima always made sure we had this at her house, or, you know, and when that particular woman is no longer in that space, things shift.
That's a good example
that's true.
about how the strength of a woman holds it together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's good conversation about a helpmate. We pray that you all seek God concerning your position as a helpmate. And if you're out of position, that he'll help you get back into alignment. And if you've not been using all of the secret values and powers that God has given you to influence and to navigate and to encourage your spouse, then that you'll pray about that as well. And then also, if you're in the predicament where you're acting like a helpmate to someone who's not your spouse, pray about that as well, and let Lord bring balance to that. Let the Lord bring some balance to that. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Bye.
Bye.